we're sharing this planet with 8 billion people. Can you imagine what a vibration of 8 billion people is doing?
Mm. Ooh.
So we can't escape this vibration. We cannot escape the vibration of the people we surround ourselves with or the community we belong to. How do we take responsibility to show an example of how can we radiate the good stuff? Love, happiness, compassion, embracement, understanding. How can we show an example? And by rippling that, we'll ripple it to the immediate surrounding
And then
of
outwards,
exactly.
communities, cities, countries, and the entire world. So
Totally.
just so it starts with us. It starts with each individual person. Hello, my loves. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, I'm Leeor Alexandra. Welcome to the B community. On this channel, we talk about the law of attraction, spirituality, self-development, and so much more. And today I have astrologer Galit Raiman on with me to talk to us a little bit about what's coming for us in 2022. We talk about what's coming in relationships, what's coming on a societal level, what challenges we're going to be facing, how is this going to be different from 2020 and 2021. And she just gave us a lot of really good information about what we can expect. And it's always with a positive spin because it's always positive. Even when there's challenges, it's always for our growth and for our human experience to be as meaningful and fulfilling as possible. So if you want a map of her full predictions for the year, she created that for you for free. I'm going to link that below. You just have to sign up to her email list and you get a download of it. So yeah, if you like these kinds of videos, please give it a thumbs up. It's also going to be available on my podcast. It's a special for the end of the year until I start season 2. So thank you guys. I love you. Hello, Galit, my love.
Hello, Leeor. So happy to be here.
Thank you for joining us again. You were loved so much when you came here last time to talk about the Saturn return, and people want more of you, Galit.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. This is so awesome. Great opportunity. Thank you.
Honestly, where this came from is really I follow a lot of astrologers, I follow a lot of psychics and tarot readers, and there's this sense of gloom and doom that's really prevalent right now. And everyone's just saying, 2022 is going to be just like 2020 or worse. And I knew that I needed to consult with you and kind of get a breakdown of what's going to happen for this year for us, what we can be expecting, what the stars are telling us is going to happen. And I know that you always find the silver lining and the opportunity for growth and for improvement through what the stars are offering us, because the stars aren't making anything happen. They're just explaining it, right?
Really, the stars are just energies that bring us experiences, and it's up to us to respond. And it's about how do we respond to challenges. And we have challenges all the time, Leeor. You know that challenges come and go. That is true. Some years are, I don't want to use the word harder, but maybe more challenging than others. Okay, but we all have experienced challenging aspect through our life. The stars keep rotating and they touch personal planets in our charts, and we always experience challenging times, sometimes more than others. How do we respond? It's about that. It's about our personal response.
Right. So it's not that we are destined for a horrific year coming up, right? It's not that it's in our destiny. Exactly. It's just that these energies can be interpreted in either way and can be their opportunities for us. I love that.
It's true. 2021 was very challenging as well as 2020. And we all know that we've never expected a pandemic. Let's face it. It's a very challenging experience that we were never brought up expecting. So, and we had, I'm not going to say that it's because of Saturn Uranus square. It's not. Saturn Uranus square has a certain meaning to it. The pandemic just has happened to fit into that modality of what that square is all about. So let me know when you're ready. I'll start talking about what's happening. Yeah.
So I'd love to hear. So you made an overview of the year for us. Can we get the overview a little bit?
Yeah. So the overview of 2022 is actually, we're still continuing to have that challenging square between Saturn and Uranus. And what that square means, Leeor, in a nutshell, is we are parting with old systems that are not working for us, and system needs to be updated, just like your computer needs updates. Any kind of device that we have needs update. We also need an update, and through evolution we kept updating our systems. And at the moment it seems rough because a lot of systems are crumbling. We also have Pluto in Capricorn for 20 years. For God's sake, this is dissolving all kind of structures that we thought are secure. So that's what's happening. So there is that square through 2022. It continues to happen. It is asking us to use our tradition, but in a new, innovative way.
Okay.
That's what it is. And your generation is doing it beautifully. Look what's happening. So I prepared something, and the main theme is control versus freedom. You probably have heard it before, right?
Yes.
And look at all the segregation that had brought us. Right. Anti-vaxxers against vaxxers, Trump supporters against Biden supporters,
right?
QAnon against CDC. Right? There's a lot of misinformation. The question is, what is true? We are at a stage where we don't know what to believe, who to believe, and what is really true. So what happened when we face this uncertainty? We start tapping into our self-judgment, into our self-power, and we stop listening to all that outside noise. We start trusting ourselves, and that is the evolutionary step that is happening.
I love that.
Isn't it?
So it's bringing us, instead of listening to all these dissenting opinions outside of ourselves, back inside of ourselves, what feels right to us, what sounds true to us.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it's such a radical change that in the beginning of 2020, we believed whatever we were fed by the media.
Right.
But by today, nobody is believing anything. Everybody is doing their own research, and everybody is counting on their own judgment from their own experience. And I want to touch on that word, experience, right? Before, in our education system, we are not taught to experience. We are taught facts. And we are supposed to spit the facts and get high grades and pass and get a degree. That's not education. I mean, that's facts education. That's information. But Google have saved us. And we can get all this information through YouTube University.
But thank God for that.
Exactly. But what is intelligence? Intelligence is, what do you do with the information do you have? And that is experience. And everybody is shifting, especially your generation is shifting into spending more to acquire experience. We want to come back to ourselves and own and take back our power, not just through what the system says, but through our own experience, which I think is a beautiful thing. So that will continue through 2020. It actually will expand and flourish. That's the main
more
thing.
More of that listening to our own inner guidance and experiencing things rather than just taking other people's opinions and facts as
For
fact,
sure.
right?
I want to also note that the Saturn-Uranus experience square, and square is always a tension. So that means things are not working. We have to shift. We have to take action. Have created radical changes in system. How we work has definitely changed, right? Everybody's noticed that. The human connection changed. Here we are having this on Zoom, or, we're connecting differently. And it also, how do people date lately? What do you do? How do you celebrate holidays? Are you going to people's houses? Are you not? Everybody's finding their own experience.
Right.
There is no one set rule for it anymore. It's not traditional anymore. The education system have changed. We talked about that. Now we consume education through so many other ways than we used to. It's not just about going to a classroom. The monetary system have changed. I think cryptocurrency have finally made it to the mainstream, right? It was always in the fringe, and now central banks are adopting it, which is unheard of.
Incredible.
And we have the economic system has changed, something that we thought that is so secure and everybody knows what it is. No, we don't. We are redefining it. So all these are continue to happen. But the main and most beautiful aspect of 2022 is Jupiter conjunct Neptune in Pisces. Wow, I can't even explain how joyous I feel about that.
Yes, I got a lot of questions about that.
Good, good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let's dive right into it
Yes.
because the last time it happened was 1856. 1856. That's a while ago, right? That Jupiter had conjuncted Neptune in Pisces. Jupiter, in a nutshell, is the planet of growth. It says to bring expansion. It's a good luck planet. Everything it touches wants to grow in an optimistic way. It is ready to say, let's grow, let's expand. Neptune is that planet of creativity, of touching something that is beyond us, touching something that you want to call it God, the universe, the higher self, our soul, whatever words you want to use, that's fine, but it's definitely a greater existence than our own personality right here, right now. Pisces, which is the last sign, the 12th sign of the zodiac, is all about spirituality. So is Neptune. It's all about compassion, unconditional love, creativity, immense creativity. It's about the arts and the movie industry. It's about media. It's about bringing spiritual back. So this is the spiritual revolution. I am so excited to announce that we are in the midst of a spiritual revolution.
Yes. Oh, just hearing that made my chest open up. My heart's opening.
Isn't it?
Yes.
I've been doing astrology for a long time. And I remember in the beginning of the 90s, I used to go to this association in Florida, and we used to have people come and give us lectures. And they all talked about that new generation that is going to come to the planet. It was the beginning of the 90s. You were not born yet. And that generation, the indigo kids, and remember the rainbow kids, they're going to come and bring in an evolutionary state that we haven't experienced before, and they will bring the spiritual revolution. And it was far in the future for me. I was young myself at that time, and I thought, that will happen somewhere in the future, and here we are.
We're here. That's huge, Galit.
Yeah.
So when is it happening?
Well, we're already in it, but the fact that because Jupiter went into Pisces last May, just for a short time. It was 2 months. And then it zipped right back to Aquarius, went retrograde to finish some stuff that had to do with Saturn and finish Aquarius cycle. And it's actually on the 30th of this month, it's going back into Pisces. So we are starting 2022 with the notion of Jupiter in Pisces. So I want to talk about a few things with that. First of all, it's very symbolic that we're starting another challenging year, but this time with Jupiter in Pisces. Jupiter in Aquarius was kind of detached and caring a lot about social and groups and media and communication. But in Pisces, it cares about those that are less fortunate. It cares about our compassionate side. It cares about love. And let's talk about love. A lot of people are saying, what is love? And I want to be loved. But what is love? Love is a frequency. And if we upgrade ourselves to feel that on a daily basis, whether it's self-love, whether it's love for others, we are putting ourselves in a different space, in a different frequency.
Yes.
And so when you're asking me, is it going to be challenging? Well, for those people that are putting themselves in a lower vibration, yes, it's going to be challenging. But for those who choose to practice that higher vibration, that love feeling, that compassion, it will be amazing year.
Beautiful. So it's all about choosing our own frequency and tending to our own frequency, making sure that we're continuously choosing love in every situation, even when it's challenging.
Correct. I think then the message for this year is taking care of yourself, finding out what's important for you, and taking care of others as a community as well.
Beautiful.
Because, we always think first about ourselves. Obviously, we live that life and we see it from a very personal perspective. But we are also surrounded with a group, first of all, our family, then the neighborhood or the city we live in, then the country, and then
Right.
all this global community. We're sharing this planet with 8 billion people. Can you imagine what a vibration of 8 billion people is doing?
Mm. Ooh.
So we can't escape this vibration. We cannot escape the vibration of the people we surround ourselves with or the community we belong to. How do we take responsibility to show an example of how can we radiate the good stuff, love, happiness, compassion, embracement, understanding? How can we show an example? And by rippling that, we'll ripple it to the immediate surrounding
And then
of
outwards,
exactly,
communities, cities, countries, and the entire world.
totally.
So it starts with us. It starts with each individual person.
And I think it's really appropriate that we're starting the year with Jupiter in this compassionate sign of Pisces. So it brings us this connection, immediate connection to our own spirituality, our own karmic self. I think this year we'll see a lot of healing of trauma. And we already started
Ooh.
seeing it last year because we are in a greater understanding that if we heal our karma, our personal karma, and if we heal our personal trauma, we can heal our families, our
Mhm.
system, our family system, karma and trauma, and then this will ripple out again. So it's
Yeah.
on us to heal our own trauma. And we will get rewarded if we do that, right? We'll shine, we'll become better, we'll become excellent manifestors, we'll get whatever we want, and we'll be much happier.
I love this theme of it's just like, yes, there's all these people who are thinking that all these horrible things on a societal scale are going to happen, but it's not that we're hopeless and helpless. Each individual person has something that they can do that will, in essence, affect the majority. And I love that when we heal ourselves, we heal our families, we heal our ancestors, we heal our culture. I love that
Exactly.
so much, Galit. Go on. I'm sorry to cut
Exactly.
you off.
And you touched upon a word that I really love, the ancestors, right?
Uh-huh.
And I posted yesterday on my Instagram. Thank you, my ancestors. I honor you because it was the solstice, and I honor everything that you have taught us. You have taught me because I am here because of you. So I honor that connection. And in the past, I think 50 years or so, we have kind of moved away from ancestry. We wanted to be individuals. We wanted to show up in the world for ourselves. We wanted to make money. It was me, all about
Mhm.
me. Pluto in Leo, then Pluto in Cancer, or Pluto in Cancer, Pluto in Leo. And then we finally reached an understanding that the ancestry that we're coming from is so valuable. It is so rich in stories, in metaphors, in
And
encoded
tradition.
messages. And
Mhm.
look what's happening on the planet. Everybody's doing rituals suddenly.
Mhm.
Why do you think people are so into rituals? Because
Yeah.
rituals are connecting us to a really deep, I don't want to use the word primitive, but maybe intrinsic
And
part
an
of
ancient,
ourselves.
yeah, intrinsic for sure, an ancient primordial part of ourselves. Yeah.
Correct. That we're all sitting around the fire
Mhm.
and we're telling stories, and those stories are creating vibrations, and those vibrations are healing us. And so rituals are doing the same thing for us. And there will be a revolution, an evolution of rituals this year, connecting us to our old intrinsic part of bringing knowledge in a feminine way, not in a masculine way, not straight linear knowledge, not learned knowledge, but knowledge that we are connecting to beyond words. Neptune is beyond words, Pisces is beyond words, and Jupiter will bring the knowledge. So we are connecting to a deep, deep feminine part. It's that part that lives in darkness, but it's a good
Mhm.
darkness. It's a velvet loving, nurturing, womb feeling of knowing. That's what it is. That's what we're connecting to.
I feel like it's a weaving together of all different types of that wisdom and experience all coming together to create something bigger than ourselves. That's what
Correct.
it feels like when you talk about that. That's so beautiful. See, you
Correct.
guys, there's nothing to fear about 2022. There's only things to be excited about. Really, it's all opportunities.
Exactly. There are going to be some challenging
Mm-hmm.
dates, and I can give you some dates
Yeah.
that are more challenging than others. But one more thing before I give the dates is I
Yeah.
want to add about Venus in retrograde in Capricorn, which we are
Yes.
already experiencing.
Right.
And I think it's really appropriate. Venus is spending almost 4 months in Capricorn. This is very unusual for Venus to spend such a long time in a sign. And that sign happened to be where Pluto is being for 20 years. So Capricorn is that structure, that old tradition that we are changing. It's not that we don't need tradition and we don't need structure. We do. We love where we live. We love our houses. We love our warm.
Mm-hmm.
We love our bath and shower. We love the cars. We love all technology, right? We love structure.
Totally.
Those are all structures. But they need an update. And Venus is asking us to really pay attention to what is important for us. What is not important needs to go, and what's important needs to come in. And it's also about relationship. But I think the
Right.
main relationship is with ourselves. If we
Mm.
can do self care, self love, and self evolution, then we'll be in love with ourselves and others will love us the same. That's what
Yay.
Venus comes to tell us. So it's appropriate. Yeah, we talked about the Venus retrograde in Capricorn. She will be
Mhm.
there until the end of March, and it's a
Okay.
good thing.
Okay.
Obviously, we're check where your Capricorn is in your chart, in your personal chart, and that's going to be the house and the
That it falls in.
experiences
Hmm.
that she will bring to you,
Right.
right?
Is it mostly for our relationships, for reviewing our relationships overall in general, and for relationship with ourselves?
I think a lot of relationships that needed to end will end, and a lot of
Ah,
relationships that needed to shift will shift.
we'll shift.
Because by asking what's important, we really can zoom in. Does it really work for us, this
Yeah.
relationship that we're
Yeah.
in? And if not, what is it that I really want? And maybe it does work for us, and it's time for committing. Some relationship we're
Mm.
so
We'll get
hesitant, we're
even more
not sure.
serious.
Yeah, maybe it's
Uh-huh.
time to decide on engagement, and
Right.
decide to take it to the next step, decide to have a child.
Interesting.
It's also that. So
Okay.
it's very personal where you
Yes,
are. And if
where it
you're not in
falls.
relationship, then maybe it is time to ask yourself, do I want to be in a relationship, and what kind of relationship do I want? Those questions would lead you to the right relationship for you.
Really good to know on a personal level. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Okay. Do you want to do the quarterly reading that we
Yeah,
got?
so
Yeah.
January, March, we have Venus retro in Capricorn with Pluto. So, past relationship and trauma healing. What do you want? What is important? And then Venus conjunct Mars in Aquarius. So this is kind of a new energy. It's going to take place in March, and it brings a fresh air of allowing ourselves to have different kind of relationships, all kind,
Hmm.
just a different, instead of controlling and just traditional relationship, we can
Uh-huh.
open ourselves to all kind. And we've seen it happening already through the last few years. People are in relationship with three other people, with two other people,
Right.
same sex relationship, all kind of
Interesting.
different relationship that were not accepted by the system before, and now they are. That's going to
Okay.
expand.
So different kind of relationships. And that you were saying is January through March. It might be coming into our consciousness,
Correct.
right? Yeah.
It will be more pronounced, but it
Yes.
will keep
Okay.
on going. Everything I say
Mhm.
that's happened in the first quarter will keep on building. It's not that
Got it.
it's just first quarter and it
Right, right, right.
disappears.
Makes sense.
Maybe there'll be something in the media that will be exposed to someone who's having a really weird relationship, and there'll be a discussion about that, and people suddenly will have a validation for them as well to have a different kind of relationship, different kind of family,
Interesting.
different kind of connections. Well, we talked about Jupiter going into Pisces. That's happening at the end of this month. And I want to touch about that. Jupiter, I wrote this. Jupiter going into Pisces brings expansive expansion, spirituality, ideal belief, compassion, creativity. But in what? So the art and the music industry, the art industry, the film industry are going to explode. The dance industry, all those
Mm.
arts and forms of expression are going to have a renaissance. So NFTs, here we go. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so get on NFTs before the end of the month. Got it.
Definitely, definitely.
Okay.
And as our consciousness continue to expand, connecting with our spiritual roots. I touched upon that.
Yes.
It is very true. We need to connect with our spiritual root. And it feels as if religion as a structure need to change.
Uh-huh.
What happened, religion started as a beautiful spiritual movement. All religion, they had a message. The message was beautiful. However, within time, it was kept by mainly men, and I have nothing against men, but it didn't have the input of a woman as well. So
That
there was no
balance.
balance.
Yeah.
And it became
Right.
very rigid, and it was all about rules and regulation. If you do this, then this. If you don't do
Right.
this, then this. And I think religion is changing as well, because otherwise the younger generation will not turn into religion anymore. They don't want a middleman to connect them to God. That's the experience, back to the conversation in the beginning. We
Right.
want to connect to God on a
In
personal
our
level.
own ways.
Yeah.
Right.
We don't need a
Yeah.
middleman. We don't need to go to church or synagogue or a monastery. We can connect right here, right now in our home. And so that is moving away from the structures
And
and
structures.
traditions of religion into our home.
And I think that we were talking about this yesterday when we were going over this, maybe a little bit more of a return to the natural spiritualities, like maybe a little bit of paganism, things like that.
A lot, a lot of
Hmm.
paganism.
Hmm. Just the more
Yesterday, somebody
maternal.
posted.
Uh-huh.
Yes, yesterday
Mhm.
somebody posted on Instagram, if you could describe your life, what would it be? And people, said, what would it be? And I read the comments. Most of them are young people like yourself.
Uh-huh.
And the comments were so beautiful. I want to live in a society where we're all connected to nature. We live in nature. There are
Oh,
no processed foods. We all are in harmony. We're doing circles, shamanic circles. The kids are
yeah.
running free. We're teaching them through experience. All that beautiful. They talked about vegan and less killing and more sustainable ways. And that fresh
So
uh,
beautiful.
vision that your generation is bringing to the planet, and we need that. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
we need
time.
that. That's the balance. That's the bringing in the feminine to balance out the masculine that we've had for
Totally,
so long. Wow.
totally.
So, and is that Galit, just to ask a kind of a related question. Everyone says that that's the age of Aquarius really coming in. Is that
Yeah,
connected?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, of course. The age of Aquarius, we saw the first seeds in the 1960s. Remember the
Right.
hippie and the flower
Yes.
child, and the
Yes.
beginning of mind-altering drugs that
Mhm.
sent people to experiment with other realities and vibration and existences. And that was a little seed. And then in the 90s, or in the late 80s, there was this conjunction of Jupiter, I'm sorry, Uranus and Neptune in Capricorn, which a lot of your generation is carrying that signature, which is saying we bring a revolution, we bring a
Ooh.
change to the system, which is spiritual, Neptune, and a change, a radical change, which is Uranus, and a higher enlightenment. So that was 90s, and right now we're having that Jupiter conjunct Neptune in Pisces. So this is the full-blown expression of the beginning of the age of Aquarius, that we're already feeling it. And it's a 2000 years age.
Uh-huh.
We're just seeding the
Just
beginning of the seeds.
yeah.
Yeah,
I have chills about that. Imagine where we're going to be in 2000 years from now if we choose spiritual evolution and if we
exactly.
choose that energy. Wow.
We are so blessed to be born right now. And
Mhm.
talking about that, we've been here before, in my
Right.
opinion. Everybody
I
can choose
agree.
to believe whatever
Mhm.
they believe, but we've been here before, and we keep incarnating with the same group of souls that surround us. I mean, so we play different roles with that group.
Right.
Sometimes you're my mother, I'm your mother, you're my son, whatever,
Uh-huh.
and but the thing is, we get to experience that we are not just that rigid part that right now you're Leeor, I'm Galit, but we are
Uh-huh.
not just that. We are much more than
Yes.
we present right now. And on a soul level, we know that. And so right here, right now, we want to experiment with getting in touch with the greater part of us. And that's why there is a big movement with plant medicine that all the young kids are experimenting with, and legalizing some of those stuff, because in in the old days they called them drugs, but now I call them spiritual experiences, or plant medicine is a good name,
Medicine is really good. Yeah.
because we are connecting to just different vibration and different realms of our existence. How did we get here?
I don't know.
I don't
No
know.
idea. No idea. But we would get here, of course. Of course we did. So Venus retrograde.
Oh, you're back to reality. Well, that's one thing. I'm so happy it happened to us, because when Jupiter conjunct Neptune at 23 degrees of Pisces, so anybody who has around 20, let's say 15 to 30 degrees mutable signs, will be affected by it more. It's going to take place on April 12th. And Jupiter conjunct Neptune in Pisces is getting away from your focused thought. What happened to us right now? We got carried away. We talked spirituality. We loved that talk. We got carried away, and we moved away from what we were, from the focal point.
Focus. Okay.
So the positive is that we'll get in touch with everything we talked about. The negative, there is always a positive and a negative side. And all
Duality.
those people that you listen to maybe tend to look at the negative side, and it exists, because the negative side is, I wrote a lot, it's delusion, illusion. It's some people will come up and say that they are the true God, that they are the new Messiah. The false God syndrome, all those narcissists that think they're God, they may come up and take people with them and deceive people and prey on the weak. Those are all negative traits. And one more thing about that negative part of that aspect is that people will tend to buy into all kind of conspiracy theories and new theories coming and telling people that they're being whatever. I don't want to get into any conspiracy theory here, but please check your fact, check why you believe in it, because if we believe in something that scares us, that means we have a fear inside of us. And if we have a fear, maybe we should take care of the fear first and then check the facts, right? Anything that gives us this cringe in our belly means that we're afraid of it, and it touches our fear. Don't buy into fear. Don't.
So maybe some sort of false idol coming up and leading through fear, or teaching through fear, saying like, this is, you have to follow me, or you have to believe whatever we're pushing out, because if not, these are the horrible things that could happen, that kind of thing.
Or don't do this because this will be the implication. But is it really true? And is it really true for you? Each one of us is a different entity. Each one of us has a different body that reacts differently to things. So we just talked about plant medicine. It's not for everybody. Like the vaccine is not for everybody. Whatever is right for you, and the vaccine is good for some people. Whatever is right for you, you do it, but you check. So it's back to our beginning of the conversation. What is true and what is really true for you? Because what's true for another may not be necessarily true for you. So check what fits you. What is in alignment? I want to use the word alignment. It really is important. What is in alignment with you? Let's continue.
Be really discerning about how you feel, how things feel to you too.
Yeah, but again, feeling definitely is a good way to check. But sometimes we feel out of fear. Because we have been conditioned through our childhood programming. We are running that program of fear. Some of that fear is justified, it keeps us alive. But some of that fear does not even belong to us. It's fears from our parents or their parents.
Absolutely, yeah.
So that's why I'm always saying, go do your own therapy. Go clean up your own trauma. You elevate yourself. That is your job. Once you elevate yourself and you're more clean and you can hold yourself responsible for your life, then you can discern between what is really fear and what is really true and what is not.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. On April 30th, we have the first solar eclipse of the year. I want to talk about that because
Uh-huh.
the nodes are changing signs this year. They were, for the last year and a half, they were doing Gemini and Sagittarius. And
Hmm.
so where the eclipses, wherever the nodes go, the nodes of the moon, then the eclipses follow. So the
Okay.
themes for the last 2 years were communication and truth. What do we believe, right?
Hmm.
And now they're changing sign to Taurus and Scorpio. And
Ooh,
we already have had an eclipse in Scorpio last month, if you remember. That was
right.
the first kind of being here. That's where we're heading. And the nodes are changing sign to Scorpio and Taurus. Scorpio and Taurus axis is all about control versus control and security versus out of control and trauma and being possessed.
Mm.
It's about how we build our own natural uh, secure place to be and how we feel comfortable in our life. And we all want security. We're
Right.
security based creatures. Towards how we clean out what is fear. I'm glad we touched upon it. How we clean out fear and trauma that are holding us back. And they're holding us back from our power. That's what it
Oh,
is. If we're
uh-huh.
feeling powerless, there is trauma. Something is holding us back.
Right.
So that's the dynamic. And each one of those eclipses will bring up a different vibe a little bit, but that's mainly what they're bringing up. So check out where are your Taurus houses in your chart and where is Scorpio house in your chart. Those will be the areas that will be highlighted for you. So if it's in your second house and eighth house, so it's money and partnership. If it's in your
Mm.
fourth and tenth, then it's your home and work. How do you balance those? 6, 12, your work and your subconscious programming, whatever it is for you.
Okay. Good to know.
So the first eclipse, it's a solar eclipse. It's at 10 degrees Taurus. It will happen on April 30th. And at that time, Venus is also conjunct Jupiter in Pisces, and Venus is the ruler of that eclipse. So it's kind of helping us connect deep into our compassionate side and say, what do I need to feel emotionally secure? So that's around that theme. Then Jupiter and Jupiter. So Jupiter goes into Pisces, and then it stays in Pisces for a very short time, 4 months. And on May 11th, it enters Aries. So it zips in through Pisces. Sorry, I'm
Uh-huh.
so excited about that.
This is going to be good, I can tell.
And then it goes into Aries, and
Uh-huh.
bam, the energy is so different in Aries because Jupiter in Aries says, just do it. Just do
Mm.
it. Don't even think about it.
Okay.
It's good and bad. I think it's good because it will force us to take actions. All this spicy stuff we were planning and getting in touch with
Mhm.
spiritual and this and loving ourselves. And then comes, bam, Jupiter says,
Yeah.
do it. Now you go and do it.
So could there
And
be a little bit of impulsivity there? Is that the bad?
like a lot.
Uh-huh.
Like
Uh-huh. Okay.
people, especially if you're an Aries or any
Uh-huh.
cardinal signs, the first degrees of the cardinal signs will be affected by it. They suddenly will spring into action and
Mhm.
they're not going to think about it. So I suggest think about it before.
Think about it. Okay, got it. Take that
But
ambition and do it, but think about it. Take a second, take a breath and think about it.
plan
That
more.
kind of thing. Yeah, plan
Plan
more.
more.
Got it.
Although it really is a good place to be if you're an entrepreneur.
Uh-huh.
Then you want that energy. This is
Right.
a
Yes.
successful energy. It's an achieving energy. So
Mhm.
all of us people that are planning already and that are creating our plan will be able to execute,
Yes.
despite the Uranus and Saturn square. Actually, together with the Uranus
With
and
it.
Saturn
Mhm.
square, we will create substantial results with that
Beautiful.
Jupiter in Aries. That's a beautiful energy.
Beautiful.
So I wrote, don't have to be perfect, just go and do it, what needs to be done. Then Mars is conjunct Jupiter on May 29. Mark that date, it may be interesting. It's an
May
explosive
29th, huh?
day, May
Uh-huh.
29. Yeah,
It's conjunct
shooting before
Jupiter.
speaking. Things will go faster. It's a quick energy. Things
Okay.
will just speed up in May.
Uh-huh.
April to June, Jupiter enter Aries. Oh, then we have another lunar eclipse now this time. And a solar eclipse is a new moon. Lunar eclipse is a full moon. So for you just to make a note of it, on May 16, it's a 25 degrees Scorpio. Everybody that has 25 degrees fixed signs are going to be very affected by it. And you're going to see something about your power or powerlessness. Are you in control of your power or not? And if you want to be more powerful, what is holding you back? What kind of trauma may be coming up for you for review? And you can let it go. It's a full moon.
Mm.
We can let go. Scorpio is all about cleansing. It's all about healing. So it's a
Yeah.
good thing.
Going
It
deep.
can be intense for a few days, yes, but so
Yeah.
what? Deal with it. You know,
Right. Get
that's an
through it.
opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Oh, Mercury retrograde. We have 4 Mercury retrogrades this year.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Love that for us.
Every year we have 3. This year we have 4.
Okay.
Yay!
It's good. More opportunities. Love that for us.
And there is something interesting with Mercury retrogrades this year. The first one, they're all starting in air signs.
Ooh,
Besides the last one that is happening in December, but they're all starting in
okay.
air signs, going retrograde into a earth sign and coming
Mm.
back, as if Mercury is saying air signs are all about conceptions and mental. It's what we
Uh-huh.
think and what we believe. So Mercury is our capacity to communicate and exchange ideas and information. So Mercury is saying, uh, let's check all the air signs, what you believe from all sides. What is your core belief? Because this is how we live life. This is how we manifest, and what we create is from our thoughts. Only
Right.
then comes the emotion that makes it in motion. So, what do you believe? Let's check it out, but let's bring it back to an earth sign and make it sustainable and doable and practical.
Uh-huh.
Because just blah, 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 blah
Right.
doesn't help us.
So
So
kind of like
how
let's bring it down to earth. Let's make it more of a foundation. Let's really do this. Okay.
let's do. The word do
Uh-huh.
is really
Uh-huh.
important. Don't
Yeah.
just talk about it. Do it.
Yes. Okay.
So all
Got it.
those Mercury retrogrades, besides the last one that is in Capricorn, we'll talk about it towards the
Mhm.
end of the year. So Mercury is going retrograde in Gemini between May 10th to June 3rd. And yeah, it is going direct at 26 degrees Taurus and highlighting again the Taurus Scorpio axis that is already highlighted by the nodes and the eclipses this year. This is a strong axis this year. Security versus power or powerlessness. Uh, uh, how do we organize our life to be secure? Because that control versus freedom and the Uranus and Saturn square shook up our security system completely. And we need to rebuild it. So this axis towards Scorpio will help us rebuild it, rebuild our uh, how we work, how we make money, where we live, and what security base we have, and how we show up powerful. This is what needs to be rebuilt. Okay.
Mhm.
Then July, September, Mars square Saturn. That's a tough aspect. It's a challenging aspect. It's the hot spot between 18 to 22 degrees of fixed signs. So this is the year of the fixed signs. Hey,
Okay.
you guys, I have a son in those degrees in the fixed signs. And it's a challenging aspect. All this year, we're going to have some challenging aspects. But challenge is what builds you. If
Uh-huh.
you're ready to show up,
Totally.
it will build you. If you're not ready, then maybe this will make you ready. You'll have to show up. You'll have to deal with yourself. It's about
And the f-
you taking your own power and becoming who you are, owning
and then
yourself.
the fixed signs for people who don't know, those are
So we have
Tor
Taurus, we have
Taurus.
Leo, Taurus,
Uh-huh.
Leo,
Right.
Scorpio, and Aquarius.
Okay.
Those are the
Yes. Got
4 fixed signs.
it. Hmm.
And whoever has planets, personal planets between 18
In
to
those.
25 degrees, hey, it's highlight after highlight this year.
Uh-huh.
And it's also Saturn being there and in squaring or opposition. It's asking us to step and be responsible for who we are and show ourselves to the world. And the new version we were planning for such a long time is ready. And whether you
Yeah.
feel ready or not, you are. And
Wow.
so you see how it works beautifully. If you clean the fear
Crazy.
and then you realize that you're ready, then you show up. But
That's
with the
beautiful.
fear, you cannot show up because the fear holds you back. That's the dynamic.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm. Totally.
Okay. Mars square Saturn. Yeah, it is pushing our structures. It's pushing our boundaries. Something will happen that will push your boundaries, and it's about how you're going to react to it. Okay.
When around is this?
That's in July.
July to September ish?
Even less, July, August.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Got
Because
it.
Mars
Mhm.
moves into Gemini already in August 21st.
Mhm.
And it's doing a strange thing. Mars retrogrades once every 2 years, but not for such a long time. Mars is actually going to be in Gemini until March 2023. That's a
Whoa.
long time from August until March. It's almost 7 months that it's going to be in Gemini. I personally feel that we're going to have a lot of talk, a lot of media, a lot of excessive information coming. It's very scattered. Mars doesn't like being in Gemini so much. Mars is a fire. It likes fire. It's a fire energy, and in Gemini, it's an air energy, a mental energy. Mars is not too good with that. Mars is our action. It's our drive.
Mhm.
It's how we take action. So I guess um, maybe it's going to be a trying time on how you communicate what you want to say. It's really important, the power of the words.
Okay.
Words have power. And maybe the media will be highlighted at that time. Maybe some scandal will come up in the media and people will say, oh, they should have said that or they should have said that.
Mhm.
It's about how we portray things. And, you know, this morning somebody called me and wanted to tell me a terrible story they read in the media. And I stopped them and I said, I don't want to hear that. And they
Right.
said, why not? It's important. I said, no, this will bring me a negative information, negative vibration that I do not want to have in my day to day. So, how are you going to choose what you consume? What kind of media do you consume? What does it do to you on a daily basis? That is really important because what you consume is who you become.
Totally.
And and then how do you do the output? What do you talk about? What kind of energy and vibration are you rippling around you? Maybe that would come to the surface in a big way for each and every one of us and for ourselves as a collective. What do we consume? Are we finally going to listen to the good news of the day, the good vibe station, or are
Right.
we going to continue with all that negativity?
It's interesting. I have that's like a constant struggle for me because I'm a YouTuber. I love YouTube. So I'm always like looking at the YouTube drama and a lot of these podcasts that I listen to sometimes share really negative news. And then I love also listening to these uplifting these podcasts, these meditation tracks, all these beautiful things. And it's like, which one am I going to choose? And I always see myself change depending on what I choose for that day. So just
Nice.
having that as a constant thing where we're always just choosing what's better for us. It's like it might not be that lower frequency that hits some sort of a craving that we have, right? But it's like flying higher than all that turbulence. So
Well, I,
that's
I, I
you know,
I love it that you brought it up because there are two sides of the coin. Obviously, we cannot consume only good and lofty feelings and beautiful and not be in reality. Then we're escaping. That's the danger of escaping and not really being here and now. The the purpose of news and the purpose of fear used to serve us really good because we as a primitive society, if there was danger and those drums were drumming from far away, we were warned that something
the
is happening.
warning,
We
right?
needed that warning to prepare. That is a good
Right.
thing. But do we really need a warning on every day, every moment of the day? It is
Constantly in fight or flight.
fight or flight, cortisol level are shooting up, and we are just in anxiety
No,
taking pills in order to relax.
none of that.
That's not good either. So where do we find that good balance of, yes, consuming some reality check facts, but also consuming good vibrations in
Yes.
order to balance ourselves? And what
Yes,
do we do
totally.
with that? Right? Life is about balance after all.
Totally.
So.
Always.
So we talked about Mars in Gemini, and that's going to continue all the way to 2023. Then we have the Saturn Uranus square. Well, it's 3 degrees away in October of 2022, and it is yeah, it will bring up the same challenges that we have now. I wrote a clash between an unmovable object, Saturn, and an unstoppable force. On the one hand, we're set in a way, and then something is pushing us to change, and we cannot resist. You feel it, right?
Yes, totally. So
Every-
that's more on a societal level, we're thinking.
Right.
Yeah.
We're thinking on a societal level, probably towards October. We'll
Right.
see. Every time Saturn and Uranus had a tight square, like tomorrow, that's the third square of this year, is tomorrow. We see COVID numbers coming up. So this was the manifestation of this square for the past year and a half, starting at January 2020 with Saturn conjunct
Interesting.
Pluto, and
Right.
and then every time this couple had squared, we saw a rise up of pandemic and a rise up in restrictions, because Saturn is all about
Right.
restrictions. And then we hear all those voices saying, oh, but we want to be free. We don't want masks. We don't want that. We don't want that. But then the numbers are rising up, and Saturn is also about death, the end, right? So a
So
lot of numbers.
so we're
So
recording this on the 22nd. So we're thinking that tomorrow on the 23rd, there's going to be that square.
that's the last square, the last
The last
exact
square
square this year for this cycle. However, the square continues to be in close relationship. We still call it an orb in astrology for next year. Not as tight as it was this year. So this is the good news. It's
Okay.
not as
That's
tight.
good.
The naysayers may say, yeah, but it's still there. Yes, it's still there, but not as strong as it used to be. Maybe we'll continue to live with the pandemic, but in a different way. We already got used to it. We are already finding a way how to travel and how to be together. We're finding creative ways, right? We're recording this today. There is a Leo
Okay.
moon. Leo moon is all about optimistic news. I'm a Leo
Look
sun.
at us.
let's
It's perfect.
do optimism.
I love my Leos. Yes. Oh, that's good. I'm just interested. I'm curious if we're going to find out tomorrow, maybe some more restrictions here in Los Angeles. So I'm going to keep an eye out for that. That's going to be interesting. Hopefully not.
I know that
We'll
Europe
see.
has just closed. If you paid attention,
I
Europe
haven't been
has
paying
closed.
attention, but
Yeah.
there we go. It's right around that. Okay. Interesting.
Europe,
All right.
yeah.
Let's back to the optimism.
Exactly. Clean it up. So we have that. And then on October 29th, Jupiter is back in Pisces. Jupiter is doing a really interesting thing. It went into Pisces last year just for 2 months. It's going in the beginning of the year for 4 months, zipping into Aries, coming back in October for another 2 months, going back to Aries. So it seems that Jupiter in Pisces did not want to be there for a whole year. It kind of went and came back, went and came back. And I think it did not want to bombard us with such a year of escapism, because it can be big time escapism. It is true that it's art and beautiful movies and all this creativity, but we can go into delusion. And I think Jupiter didn't want to do that. So it will finish the year in Aries. It will give us all the inspiration that we need, but then it will finish the year in Aries saying, go do it. So it's a good thing. One more
So it
thing
kind
I
of
forgot.
snaps us out of it. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. One more thing I forgot to add about Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces together is about the metaverse, augmented reality, and virtual reality. I bet that this year we're going to see immense development in those areas. And I think we are going to hear about probably a new technology device that will let us experience those on a more regular daily basis and more mass adaptation towards using virtual reality, because Neptune and Pisces is all about that other reality. And the metaverse, as far as I understand it, is trying to have us feel another reality as if we're in it. So
Right.
appropriate. There'll be development, a major development in that.
Don't know how I feel about that, but it is what it is. That is technological evolution.
I actually think it's a good thing. Well, good and bad, right? There is
Yeah.
positive and negative to everything. I think that the positive side is that we'll be able to learn much more
Right.
from
Of
personal
course.
experience,
Mhm.
because you'll be able to personally experience something through being in an environment through your VR
Oh,
set,
there's
right?
that experience theme coming back up. Interesting.
So not just experience riding a roller coaster, but experiencing how to be a surgeon. You'll be able
Right.
to do that. How to chemically do chemist stuff.
Yeah.
How to create crochet. You have a beautiful crochet
Hmm.
behind you.
Hmm.
How
Thanks.
to do stuff. That
Uh-huh.
maybe will be able to do it in a different way than we ever have been able to do anything before, which is very
Yeah.
exciting. The bad news is that it can be exploited
Right.
and many negative traits and experiences can come about. Yes, the demons are dancing with the angels.
Yeah. Let's see what happens from that, I guess, and continuously choose the high flying saucer, right?
Continually choose. I want to go back to the beginning of the conversation.
Yeah.
Venus currently is retrograde in Capricorn, and through all the beginning of the year, and Venus is setting the tone, asking us, what are your values? It's about values.
Right.
Because if we have good values, every experience we choose is in alignment with that. If our values are messed up and our beliefs are messed up, we'll create all kind of chaotic and traumatic experiences. So it's about upgrading our values starting now, right today, not
Mhm.
yesterday, not tomorrow, but today. It's about values.
Right. Okay. Got it.
Yeah, so
Ready?
I think I think we talked kind of about
Is that
yeah, Jupiter
is that
goes.
the major things that we have to look out for in the year? Is there anything else that's standing out for you? I've gone my head is now in the metaverse trying to think of how we could use this in a positive way. I was starting to think yoga classes, meditations together, meeting together in community.
Rituals together
Rituals.
through the
Yes. Yes.
metaverse. Let's go back.
Right.
I wrote here, repair the connection to our bloodline and ancestors through rituals and connection
Yes.
to the earth.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
I think that,
Okay.
and I want to end
Yeah.
with asking, with talking about the truth. What is true? Always check this year what is true and what is
Yeah.
not. And that connects to our beliefs. So I think those are the main themes for this year. And oh,
Beautiful.
that's what I wanted to say. I remembered. I have created a map of all that's going on this year, and
Girl.
I will share it. You can have a free download of a PDF from my website, astrology.com. So you're welcome. Sign up to my newsletter, and I'll send you that map of the year with dates and what's going on. So
Yes.
you'll be in the know.
So I was about to tell you guys, I saw this map yesterday and it is so detailed and it just takes you through every theme that you should be aware of throughout this year. And I told Galit, like, you got to share this. And she's like, yeah, I want to share this. And she's putting it up on the website for you. So you just download it for free. I'll link it down below for you. Galit, thank you so much, my love. That was so thorough, so beautiful, so uplifting. And I feel like I'm really ready for next year. Like, I know that there's going to be challenges, but I know that I could use those challenges for my growth, for my inner growth, and to just continuously connect with myself, fill myself back up, take the healing into my own hands, take my self care into my own hands so I can make the world a better place because our happiness, our individual happiness is so important. Our individual healing is so important, and we can change the world through our own experience. That's what I got from this talk.
Beautiful. You remember what Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world.
Exactly. Be the change. So it starts with us. Thank you so much, my love. Thank you for coming back
Thank you,
on.
Leeor. Thank you very
I
much
love
for
you.
hosting me.
Appreciate
I
it.
appreciate it. I enjoyed it very much, and I love you.
Thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this end of the year special. I hope that you're excited for next year and that you feel ready. I feel like I am really excited and I'm really ready. And it's just all about self-love, self-care, healing ourselves, returning to ritual, being with community, and that feels really good to me. I hope it does for you too. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and as always, keep your vibrations way, way, way up. Bye.